All right, welcome to the Implied Project. I am Tony Martinez with my lovely co-host Jamie Gaynor,
Hello.
and we are visited today by a one of Jamie's favorite photographers, Chris Rembold. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Hi, great to be here with you guys.
Yes, yeah, we were having a little issues getting him on board, but we're on
We
there. And
got it.
and Jamie mentioned your jacket. I'm like, okay, you got to tell us about the jacket.
Oh man, well, so I was playing in a band, and it's funny. I actually bought this vest when I pretty much knew I wasn't going to be playing in any more bands, but I just had to have it, so it doesn't see too much screen time anymore.
I had it for like 6 months. Do you remember?
How
We
can
were
I
gonna.
forget? We didn't even
I
get
was gonna
photos
shoot
with
in
it.
it, and then we never did.
No,
Yeah,
you got to stand up and give us the full effect here.
I don't have enough room here to. Okay, so I got great buttons on it.
Yeah, that's a nice jacket.
Yeah, so I always did a good job in costume when I was on stage. I always like to appear the part. So
That's fine.
Very
Well,
so Libra of you. So Libra
yeah,
of you.
I don't even know why I'm here. Jamie could just tell my story without my presence at
I
all.
was just gonna say Jamie's gonna take the lead on this one because so you have to tell us how you met Chris and y'all's story.
Well, let's start, Chris. I want to start at the very beginning with you. What? Because I don't know if I actually know what got you started in photography in the first place.
Wow. Okay. Well, I certainly don't mind talking about that stuff. So I was a landscape photographer. I specifically thought that people ruined my photos. And it was years and years into photography that I started doing sports photography. I was shooting beach volleyball and some other things. Um, Mountain Dew, skateboarding and dirt bike racing, and just I was doing anything I could do to take pictures. And while I was doing beach photography, or I should say sand volleyball, one of my friends in the community had a daughter that wanted to get into modeling. She was going to start a career at Victoria's Secret, all kinds of ridiculous stuff. So I think after she graduated from Kent, she may have actually ended up at Victoria's Secret in the purchasing department. And you think I would know that by now, but I never really heard exactly how that panned out. Bottom line is that had to be about, I was trying to find it on Facebook, and it was going back so far that the computer started locking up. So it was beyond 12 years that I met, and her name was Jamie also. I'm having a hard time with her last name. But we did a couple photo shoots, and the photos were just stunning. I had to buy these tiny little like $19 cactus triggers, and I was using off-camera speed lights, and I didn't know what I was doing. It was just a horrific learning curve trying to figure out how to do off-camera lighting. And oh my God, don't even get me into like retouching skin and trying to like keep things pretty. So that had to be 12 or 13, maybe 14 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and then at what point did you start going to workshops? And I'm assuming that's where you met Biff too, which is clear shadow photography. Or yeah, clear shadow
Yes,
photography.
100%. That is when my life changed. Um, oh, forgive me. I'm listening to you guys on my computer. Let me get rid of this.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I just need to I'm going to turn the volume down. This is the first time I've ever been on camera. So, all right. So, yeah, so workshops happened maybe 6 years ago. And what's interesting about it is that I never looked for, modeling subjects. And I was going to group shoots, and a guy at the group shoot was like, well, if you want to work with professional models, we go to one or two of these workshops a year. So I got with David Wingate, and he introduced me to a good friend of his, Ben Wagner, who we kind of all ended up at this workshop together. And Biff I had met at a group shoot. So I had like 4 close friends at the first group shoot that I was with. I felt like this is my community now. Like I got all my friends around me, these beautiful girls. So the workshop was a great experience. And I think it's kind of an addictive situation. The pretty girls, I mean, it's expensive right out of the gate. So that was a tricky situation. I think I was good for like 1 paid workshop a year. And over the last 6 years, I think I've probably only made 5 workshops. So I don't know, it just opens doors. You meet models that are available to work with you outside of the workshop. And that's kind of how, we've kind of like tried to keep things rolling without spending, all this money at paid workshops.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like, at least from my perspective, the past 2 years, things have really snowballed. Like, I feel like your style got, like, you have a defined style now. Maybe you did before, but I feel like it's different now, and things have really snowballed in a good way.
Yeah.
And that's so narcissistic of me, by the way, because 2 years ago you met me. I just put that together. I was like, so when you met me, things got better.
Things changed.
That it's 100% true. My style essentially is that I overdo everything, Tony. So just count on that. I don't know. I think one of the things that helps a ton is that I've learned how to overdo everything but under control, so that it's not as gaudy as somebody that just like cranks up the saturation slider. Most important thing is that I have people like Jamie in my life and a handful of other models that make me look really good.
You're welcome.
Yes. Yeah. I'd like to kind of share that, I feel like I'm going to be an opposite of everybody that, I've been watching on the podcast, because I have some outlandish mindsets and philosophies about photography. And I'm just going to throw those out for you guys to get going.
Yes.
I think natural light in the natural world is quite common. So my underlying philosophy is to make regular common life look a little more exciting than what you are used to seeing. So I mean, I don't know if I'm getting away with that with my color gel or whatever it is, but I just don't want it to look like, oh, there's a pretty girl standing by one light by the window. That looks great, but I feel like we know what that looks like. So I'm always trying to overdo that stuff, and I know a lot of people hate what I do, but I got to admit it. That's just what
I
I'm
don't.
about. Thank you.
I don't.
Yeah. So that's my
well,
foundation.
So we met May of 2018. Ginger, or Chief Squat Low,
Right.
on Instagram, was doing a calendar for a charity, correct? And I actually wasn't even, I don't even know. I think Biff invited me. He messaged me. I wasn't supposed to shoot this thing. I showed up. It was in Greene County, which is very close to where I live, at an airport, like a tiny little airport. And I just popped up, and we shot with like lots of guns and all kinds of wild stuff. And that's where we officially met. And then we've been working together ever since. That was, that was May 2018.
It feels like a lifetime ago, because we've done so much. So May, that's 3 years this upcoming. That's hard to believe, Jamie. It really is.
I know. And I had no idea what to expect when I went there. I was literally just winging it. It was a Sunday, and I was like, I'll just go hang out. And they had like this table full of, because it was for, what was it? Was it for veterans? It was connected to that, but it was for children, to raise money through veterans. It was a complex thing, but there were guns everywhere, and we were like half naked. There was a helicopter that flew in. It was freaking insane.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
We did a great job that day. There was so much content, and we just never got the calendar together. I think everybody was looking at each other like, well, how do we do this? What's the next step? How do we make this happen? And unfortunately, it just never came to fruition. The photos are still there. I think.
Still got some great photos.
Happened, but we still don't know the next step.
Oh shoot! I can help you guys with that. I've done several calendars.
Oh my god!
There we go. That could be it.
All so right. Need to pull them out of the archives and hopefully do some good still.
Yeah. They're great photos. We got some heavy hitters in there too. We have Taylor and we have Chief Squat Low. And my Instagram following has grown since, and we've got some good people in there. Might be worth it.
100%. Definitely recognizable faces, and Yeah. So Jamie and I actually, I've recently organized my folders, and I think I've got the most photo shoots with any individual that I've done with Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've got 24 folders. There is somebody
Wow.
that's 3 folders away from you, but we won't be shooting anymore, so you have nothing to worry about. You're my top girl.
It's my spot. I take that very seriously. So we also just shot, by the way, on Saturday night we shot. So that's what the 2 images that were recently posted were from. Same exact shot, different gels. But that's
Yeah.
what we shot on Saturday.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing them. I'm actually I'm gonna go ahead and break down and subscribe to your OnlyFans. And yes,
you're in for a treat.
I'm sure I will be. So Chris, you mentioned that you started out in landscape photography. What, I guess leading up to that, what got you into photography in the first place?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if you remember what was going on in the late 80s, but desktop publishing was growing tremendously. I was supposed to be in the field of commercial arts. And I was in vocation. I was learning 4 color separations, how to manually cut the ruby lith overlays. And I think that I saw the writing on the wall while I was in school. And I wasn't a student, but I basically realized that I don't think there's going to be jobs when I'm done with this. So I just started playing around myself with the desktop publishing. I liked creating the business cards for my friends and graphic design. I was doing a lot of texture illustration. And photography was a side gig in the commercial arts program. So, I had a camera back in 1988, black and white film. I learned how to use the darkroom, but I was horrible. It's safe to admit that none of those photos would, get any attention these days. So I basically gave up, and I was like, well, that's not going to work for me. 3 or 4 years later, maybe probably more like 1992, an electronics store was going out of business, and there was a digital camera that was 480 pixels by 640 by 480. I mean, literally, it would make a thumbnail.
It was like a little
point shoot. Oh yeah, just a point and shoot digital camera. But it was like an $800 camera. I got it for $400, and I gave it to my mom for her birthday. And she never used it, but I was always like grabbing it and playing with it. So I always knew, I was like, this is instant gratification. I can see the mistakes I'm making, and I can fix them. And I started I just love that digital photography. Probably a year or 2 later, my mom bought me a camera for my honeymoon. Oh my God. No, okay, yeah, this didn't happen until my honeymoon. My mom bought me a digital camera. So we go to Hawaii, and I've got a Casio, like a $300 camera that was like a professional camera compared to what I bought her. It's magic. I'm going to do this for you. Give me a second. This probably needs to be clean, but with that Casio camera, this is a photo that I took. Well, I don't know how to do this.
Hold on, I'm gonna give us a little more room here. Here we go.
Okay, so let's just do that so this is a photo that I took with
wow.
video camera. So this is on the Kalalau Trail on the North Shore of Kauai.
Can you?
Yeah, so I was hooked. I mean, I'm taking professional photos with a point and shoot camera, and it just kept snowballing from there.
That was a nice shot.
Well, in Hawaii, you can't take any bad photos, so.
I can imagine.
Oh, hey,
hey, Els.
Oh, I love it.
Love
you
the glass.
You remember who that is? Chris. Yep.
She's like, why is he in a costume?
Elton John glasses. All right. Good night.
How ironic. My little one's still up too. She's behind me.
Yep.
All
right.
Lori probably won't join the conversation, but that's my wife in the corner.
Okay, I was going to ask who that is.
Wait, is that
photo?
Is that Lori? That's Lori in the photo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
I didn't know
from
that.
a different era.
Yes.
So one of her closest college friends was a photographer, and we're still very good friends today. So Roger took this photo with Lori a few years back.
Wow. I like
Yeah.
it.
Cool.
I don't remember seeing that when I was there before.
I had it hanging on this opposite wall. I actually moved
Oh.
it into the background.
I like it.
So the
Wait, did you
transition.
move it like today?
Yesterday.
In preparation for this. I like it.
Oh, I mean, I put colored lights and everything. Like I've got a lot going on here, so
I like
this
it.
room does not look good otherwise.
I was going to ask. So you mentioned the transition from landscape to glamour type stuff. What exactly? You mentioned that you totally loved it. What exactly did you love that changed your way of thinking about people in your photographs?
Okay, so it really was like the light shaping, and I've already mentioned that like I don't necessarily appreciate natural light. Um, you're kind of like forced into the light's only in one spot, right? So if you're trying to set up, you want a beautiful shot of a valley, but the sun's on the other side. Like with artificial light, you can make it happen, but the idea of actually being able to control light source and get contouring and shaping, and I was doing this with an umbrella and a speed light. But I think the very first time that I shot Jamie and I realized that just the angle of the light, like reaching her face, I was seeing people in a different way than I ever even noticed them otherwise. So I do like dramatic light. I'll always pull my key light way off to the side because I want to see shaping and shadows. I know that it's easier and more flattering to just put flat light in front of a model, but I don't want to look at it. Forgive me.
I'm going to pull up one of your
I get
photos
it.
from your Instagram, and I guess this kind of goes along with what you're talking about, I would assume.
Oh, yeah, that light is completely perpendicular on Tatiana's left side. So, yeah, it's exactly what I'm saying. Like, there's some serious shaping going on there, and I want to say that it's almost. A lot of people say that it looks fake, or that you can tell there's an artificial light source. But I always want people to know that I did something you can't do with your cell phone.
It's beautiful.
And then you have something like this with our very own Jamie.
Our concept shoot.
See, now this looks pretty natural to me compared to the rest of your work.
I purposely went away from. Yeah, that's not a bold photo. That's something else. And Tony, it kills me that I get so much attention from the stuff that I'm trying to avoid. I can't help myself in that regard.
But I kind of forced Chris to do this stuff for me anyway. This was my concept shoot revolved completely around that bike. So it had to look like this, whether he wanted it to or not.
Excuse me.
But these photos have gotten quite a lot of traction,
They have. Here's another one. Not only is your lighting obviously manipulated, but I like the angle, or basically the composition that you've got here.
Yeah, that one worked out exceptionally well. Yeah, Josie gets a lot of credit. She's a superstar, and you wouldn't know by looking at her Instagram page, because she doesn't make a job out of it. She does what she wants, and she's not trying to force traffic to her page. But yeah, she is something else. I really enjoy Josie.
There's another couple here that I really like. Well, there's another one of Jamie there.
That's probably one of my favorites. Tony, are you familiar with David Dubninsky?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I literally found one of his photos and I thought, I'm going to model and edit after like a David Dubninsky, and this was my first attempt.
Okay.
In the back of my mind, I knew that it should be desaturated, and those other photos, I knew where I was trying to go with it. But this image, I took one of David's photos and I took my photo side by side, and I took every element, every aspect of the photo and made it a Dubninsky.
I can see that.
Yeah,
Looks like
there's
a
glow.
painting.
Exactly. Yeah. And, Jamie, I hope you don't mind. There's a little bit of the erotic touch that he does as well. So I'm sure you see the things that are enhanced.
No, I don't. That's exactly how I look in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Everyone knows that. Come
Well,
on.
but the funny thing is, I only have to say that because typically, like, Jamie's got the best hourglass figure that I've ever seen in front of me, and I don't have to alter the shape of Jamie's body. So to see that extra waist pinch and the pop above, that's that's trying to just push it a little bit more toward David Dubnitsky.
Right. This is another one where the colors are obviously enhanced here.
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen this one. I've never seen that one.
This one stood out to me because you've obviously done some more than just light shaping here. You've done some more like digital art type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm being honest with you, that's a capture.
Really?
There's a lot of burning that happens in that background to bring the shadows back down. But there was a gorgeous sunset happening through those broken. I think there's a broken window in the back or the end of the warehouse that it was leaking through. And we started just trying to sweep the dust up off the floor, and that wasn't working real well. So I think I ended up, I had a smoke bomb. Yeah, I threw a smoke bomb in the back, and that's how we caught all that haze from the sunset. But yeah, if you saw those images, straight captures, that's pretty much, I was pretty true to the actual photo.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't have an 8-year-old assisting you in this shoot, spraying stuff in the background to make it hazy, is what you're telling me?
Ashley brought Jim with her, and actually Jim did an exceptional job as a lighting assistant. The way
That's
that
awesome.
it worked was the smoke was blowing toward her. So we set up an area that was like 15 or 20 feet, and we started posing her at the back of the area. And as the smoke started like growing and wrapping around her, we had to keep moving forward away from the smoke. So Jim was pulling the C stand with the modifier on it, and I was backing up, and I was telling her to just follow me. As I back up, come with me. And I got to tell you guys, there's so many amazing images from this warehouse shoot, this abandoned building. And I can't ever just leave the image as I shot it. So I've got 1,200 images from this warehouse that all should be edited. I just haven't done it.
See, this is what I like that we're doing, because no one would know the backstory of that. Like, no one would know. You know what I mean? No one would know that you did all that. I didn't know that.
I'm glad you said that. One of my friends, one of my Instagram friends, sent me a message after that photo. Chris, you got to tell me about your green screen techniques. I can't do anything that looks like this. And I said, well, it's not a green screen.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, what about this one?
Well, we do a lot of, how do I want to say this? We've attempted a lot of sexy images, doing the dripping honey stuff. And ultimately I kind of thought, like, I don't want to deal with the whole sticky, messy thing. And I want to just do something that's crisp and clean, but really emphasizes the shiny gloss of the honey. So we decided to cut the orange and just do, it looks like a Florida Oranges commercial, but I don't know. I really enjoy doing that. The lighting is clamshell lighting, so it's very flattering. We don't have the shadows that I was talking about. The important thing is that there's an additional strip light that you can see highlighting your forearm. And the strip light is kind of mandatory to get those glossy highlights on shiny surfaces. So there's a clamshell. Okay. There's a story about bold shadow lighting, and there's 24 modifiers set up in the studio. That was the setup for this photo. I don't know if it's if you can find it at the top of the page, but if you were to play that story, you'll see all the modifiers that we use. And there's a chair in the middle of the modifiers. And that was actually the setup for that shoot.
Let's check out the rest of these photos here.
Yeah, there are.
So they're in one of the stories here?
I think it says
Right, here we
bold
go.
shadow.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I don't, you probably can't zoom in on that, but
No.
we set up every light that we own to do that photo. But ultimately, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was at least 6 lights in that honey orange photo shoot.
Impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, because I have to overdo it.
Oh, here's another one from that.
Yeah, now I hate when I do this to my models, but this got picked just because she had just lit the smoke bomb and it was spraying sparks. So even the sparks that you see spraying smoky flares over her head, that's all real stuff. So I literally picked it just because I liked the ambience and the haze and the smoke. So yeah, she didn't get her best pose just because I like the smoke.
No, but look, it's a great picture.
Now, you know what, Tony? I think right there in the middle, Christine, I think that might be one of the most classic beauty photos that I've ever captured in a natural setting. That's all natural light. Oh, forgive me.
Wow.
No, I'm sorry. My eyes are really bad, but yeah, that is artificial. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one because I kept it under control without any colored gels.
Oh, this is the one. No, that's not the one. But
No, you won't see that one. The one that has my booty in it is the there's like is it a happy birthday one for me? There's like 10 photos.
That's correct. It's the well,
but it's not the first one.
If that's a slide, it's the 7th frame of the slide. So
no, it must be farther back.
Oh, it is, yeah, because when you posted it, I wasn't posting with you that day, and I was like, "Holy crap, that thing did good!" And I'm like, "I better get it on my page."
My birthday is in June. If that tells you where that might be located. Oh, I love these.
Now you must have a light down here. Or up here.
That's the setup, Tony. What we did is we placed LED 4-foot LED tubes on the backsplash. And she's strictly lit by the glow of the LEDs, and the colors are simply color grading. There was a very low light. I had to shoot this at like ISO 1600, and yeah, because she was going to be blurry otherwise with that low light. But yeah, that's just got that Halloween like uplighting effect, and it kind of worked out really well that day.
That works out. Yeah. I like this one.
That is one of my all-time favorite images. And, you know, I was talking about the beginning of my photography. Katya was one of the very first models that I actually got to shoot over and over again through the years. I've known Katya for 8 years now, and she's probably my longest friend in this industry.
She's a sweetheart.
She's an amazing girl that never forgot about me when she moved to Vegas, and she's traveling all around the world. And whenever she's home in Cleveland, she always likes to get together and do some photos.
That's great. There's Jamie on her bike.
Now that might be the slide with all 7 from that shoot.
Is it?
Oh, yep. Here we go.
Okay.
Yay.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. There it is.
Definitely one of the most popular photos on Implied.
That happened. I love it.
That, and you know, Tony and Chris, when you're going through those, you have like what? We had like 2,000 images from that day. And you're going through, but there's like that one in a set that jumps out. Like every photo around this was like good, but that was like, it was the hand placement. It was the toss of the skirt. It was the light. It was the leg position. Made me so happy.
It really was. It's and perfect. You know, it's funny, like you and I both, we never know which one to grab, but I think both are super on that one.
Oh yeah. Were these all, wait, did you post all from the same set in this?
Yeah, that is correct.
This was all the same day. Okay.
Is that your birth date on that post? I can't remember.
Is it June 22nd?
So just June 18th. This is 24 weeks.
Okay,
Dedication.
June 22nd.
That may have been a coincidence then, James.
Huh.
Yeah,
Well, I
I'm
like it.
horrible with birthdays, and I almost purposely have to avoid birthdays because I never post for people's birthdays. So if somebody says like, hey, you should do something for someone, I'm like, I can't do that because I've just skipped over 24 people's birthdays in the last 3 weeks. So I almost avoid birthdays.
Right. Well, as you can tell, you definitely have colors that pop.
Tony, would you open Natalie Romano right there in the top middle?
Right here.
Orange and purple.
I rarely will show a before and after, but I do kind of. I'm proud of my Photoshop ability. So I do like to paint a lot on my images, and as long as I get something that doesn't have blacked out lost shadows or blown out highlights, I will work it into something that's worth looking at. So.
Right.
And let's talk about that shoot for a quick second. Because I shot, was it the day before or was it the same day as Natalie? Might have been the same day.
You were there before Natalie.
So that whole shoot right there, the rain shoot, was inside a freezing cold warehouse. It looks so glamorous in the photos, but it was like a concrete warehouse. They had this thing set up, and underneath was freezing cold water, and it was continuing to circulate. Like it was, I mean, I'm not miserable. You guys, you remember, I was laughing through the whole thing. But if we're talking objectively miserable, it was pretty miserable physically.
Yeah,
it was cold and rainy.
When I left that weekend, I thought, like, man, we just that was like a torture chamber, like a Nazi death camp. Like, come be tortured by us.
That's funny.
Yeah, but it was an interesting weekend. We put a lot of thought and effort into this, and we invited, I think we had 14 models that were supposed to come through our rain studio. And there were 3 models that actually made it. On the last day, we sent messages out to maybe 5 or 6 girls, and we got an additional 2 models to make it to the rain studio. But out of 14 models, only 3 girls actually made it. So thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Natalie. And thank you, Katie McElroy, who Katie just had a baby, and I think it was one of her first shoots back. So yeah, that was pretty spectacular of her to make it.
Oh yeah, because I met her that day. Didn't Ashton showed up too, right?
Oh my goodness, forgive me. Yes,
Ashton she was there too. She was leaving as I was coming in.
That's correct. It was 4 of the original scheduled models that still made it.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Ashton would have killed me if.
That's all right. I got you.
Gotta love those pants.
The longest friends in this industry too.
I am really obsessed with styling shoots, clothing and accessory wise. I have come to realize I feel like that is maybe my thing. I don't know. That's my thing. Whatever that is. That's my Libra rising. But I am always, you overdo lights and I'm overdoing styling.
Clothing.
Yep.
No, but I like this one.
Me too.
Yeah, 100%.
Here we go. So we're looking at Chris Rembold, otherwise known as Bold Photo on Instagram. And you guys, Jamie's pretty popular on here.
That's on my family's property in West Virginia. That's actually a muddy river directly behind my grandma's house. That was another. We always get into some stinking shenanigans when we're shooting.
I thought we were going to die back there.
Chris was in the water shooting. I mean, it was like we were in rapids, and he was standing there shooting me. He was downriver, like falling down the river, taking these shots.
Yeah,
and I was like, we have to get it. It has to happen. I need these photos.
The studio lighting that we carried through the drainage trench with 6-foot walls.
Oh, I forgot. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. We had one hell of a trek down to that river.
So, have you been able to shoot a lot with the pandemic, or what's going on nowadays?
You know, I'm glad you said that because that was one of the most interesting things of 2020 for me. A lot of traveling models that, you know, in my world, they would be considered untouchable because I don't pay models to shoot and they don't pay me to shoot them. So, with the pandemic and a lot of, you know, people in the service industry and, you know, whatever it is, they were available to travel and do photography. So I shot more in 2020 than I had probably shot in the 3 years prior. So
Oh, wow.
right now, I want to say I'm sitting on probably 20 or 30,000 images that I would love to just keep editing and never shoot again because I do I take a lot of pictures when, I mean, like if a girl travels 12 hours to shoot with you, you're not going to give her 3 looks and send her home.
Right.
So
Yeah.
now the next problem with that is that, you know, we'll shoot for like 8 or 10 hours and then they want you to kind of like put the brakes on the rest of your life and edit everything that they shot with you.
Right.
So there's a lot of problems with the way that we're working and the way we're doing things. And I apologize to everybody that doesn't see as much of their photography as they'd like to see. But the truth of the matter is, like, you know, I'm editing magazine covers and, you know, as far as that's what I'm trying to, like, my product is. And I don't really want to just do like a 10-minute Instagram edit and say, here's your photos.
Right.
So I'm trying to make sure everybody's getting old photos from me when I'm doing my edits.
Gotcha. And where are you like moving forward? I mean, I don't know. Jamie knows you better than I do, but like, is this all you do, or do you have a job, or is this your job?
You know, I'm glad you said that because I don't think anybody really understands. I do have a day job, and people say, why don't you charge people for what you do? But the truth of the matter is, I wouldn't survive if I had to deal with money and people that said, like, well, I paid you this and I deserve that. And it's a hard way to go. So the trade thing, I'd rather trade with, you know, my neighbor on my street that, you know, we can just cooperate and appreciate what each of us is doing rather than pay somebody to travel and all this money's going out and I'm guessing with my lighting and trying to create something magical. And I don't always kill everything I shoot. Jamie's actually pretty lucky that she gives me enough leeway to be creative without making me nervous that I can get things dialed in and make them work. But I've blown a lot of photo shoots where, like, you know, girls got to drive home 6 hours and I'm freaking out thinking, like, I hope there's something that she likes in the set.
Right.
But I do.
I find that hard to believe, but whatever you
so
say.
that's a different type of thing. I don't get to wear
I don't
this
think that's
during
true.
the day, but
All right, Jamie, you get to ask him something. I know you know him really well, but ask it since we have him in a public forum now. Put him on the spot here.
Oh God, I'm not good at this. I already know everything I need to know. I would have asked your zodiac sign, but I already know it. I don't have. Let me think. Continue the conversation, and I'll think. I don't have anything good.
well,
Okay.
I feel like I get in a lot of arguments. I get so I'm Libra, so we didn't talk about my zodiac sign, but yeah, because I think Jamie probably knows that I most likely appreciate her not telling everybody about my bad side. But
There's no bad side.
I'm an A personality that has to have my way, very opinionated, and I always know what's right and what's best. And there's a lot of that going on. And Jamie just smiles and laughs about it. She's like, "You're so Libra."
That's how you see yourself, though. That's not how I see you, at least.
Oh my
you're like the happiest, most agreeable person I've ever worked with. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you know, it's because we're creating art. Like, if you put me in a sticky situation where I got to like deal with something tragic, you'd see the Libra.
Yeah. Now you mentioned
peaceful.
Yeah. Now you mentioned that you played music. So what's up with that?
Wow. You know, that could be a whole podcast on its own. But I don't know. I feel like I've always wanted to entertain and create, and wow, music is just another avenue for that. And I've been very lucky in that regard. It's amazing. It's not part of my life right now, but in Cleveland, there's a huge music scene and everybody's in a band. And I just kept falling into the best projects, exactly what I ever wanted to do. When I quit like my most professional band, I said, I'm never playing again unless Chuck from Punch the Clown calls me. They were voted Cleveland's best cover band in 2004. And I was just like, I'm never playing again unless Chuck calls me. And I went into a duplicating center one day, and my buddy says, hey, guess who just started working here? I'm like, whatever. He says, yeah, Chuck Lopresti from Punch the Clown is a lawyer, and he's working in the firm now. So after a couple of weeks, he introduced me to Chuck, and he said, like, our drummer's having, would you like to consider trying out for our band? And so I played a few gigs with Punch the Clown, and then they kicked me out of the band because I'm a Libra.
Libras aren't difficult. If you were a Gemini, it'd be a different story.
Well, maybe it was just that I was a Libra and the other three guys were not Libras. Maybe.
Maybe.
They were a lot of fun, but I was like, hey, we could do this so much better. We should have electronics and sync, click tracks. And like, I lost my mind, and they were just like, we can't handle you. Yeah.
Thanks, but no thanks.
The last
and you were go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Forgive me. It'll come full circle. The last band I was in was just a 3-piece garage band. I never wanted to play gigs. The music was so amazing. It was the funnest music I ever played. And then they were the ones saying like, oh, we should go on tour. We should play a lot. And I was like, I just like coming over on Saturdays and jamming. So at that point, I got kicked out of that band. So yeah,
how ironic.
I'm very opinionated and like to have my way. So
where do you see your photography evolving into in the future?
I feel like I'm going to keep plugging away and doing what I'm doing. The stuff that I'm learning, the stuff that I want to know about photography, I like to spend time editing. I'm looking at getting into the Capture One software suite. I just can't tell you how much I enjoy sitting behind the computer and playing with the photos, because some people take photos and, they don't look at them. Like, I will sit at this computer for 6 or 8 hours a night, and I'll go through old photo shoots, and I'll analyze what I did, how it could have been better, what the light temperature should have been to give it a cinematography feel. There's a lot of that going on, and I feel like it's just a constant learning curve. Like, every day I learn something new, or how I can push something to get the feel or the look that I want. Right now, I'm obsessed with David Dubnitsky, and I want to desaturate everything and add a glow in the sky. Like that.
Yeah, I actually.
I want to be a chameleon. I want to be able to control.
Yeah, I actually am going through his workshop right now, his online tutorial thing. So I'm learning all that, which is a completely different style from what I normally shoot. But like you said, you kind of want to evolve, you want to change, you want to, you can't stay in. I look back at some of the photos I took with my little point and shoot too in the beginning and to now, and I'm like, why was I doing that? I know where you're coming from.
The one thing that if I could tell, like other photographers, pay attention to that guy, David Dubnitsky, because he's telling a story with every single image that he'll do a photo shoot to create one image. And, I talk about how I'll spend like 3 or 4 hours editing one image because I write a magazine cover. There's a serious disconnect between what I'm doing and what an artist like David Dubnitsky is doing, because he'll have kittens in the foreground, and you don't think that they're that important. You're like, oh, everybody's looking at the beautiful girl, but just every element that he's bringing in to tell that story. That's why he's a master. Everybody thinks like, well, if you get like a professional beautiful model to do that in front of you, that's not why he's a master. He's a storyteller, and that's where the magic is.
Pretty much. One thing I've noticed, I can mention this since I'm taking his workshop, and obviously I'm not going to tell all his secrets, and people that are interested in learning from him should go ahead and get his workshop. It's excellent. But one thing I've noticed is, like you said, it's not just all on the model. At least so far from what I've been watching, he pretty much micromanages every little pose and angle. Like, it's almost to the point where, like, because normally, for example, the golden rule, like, don't touch the model, unless you have permission or whatever. he's very direct in doing this and then. I'm like, okay, he must obviously have a really trusting relationship with this model already, because
Yeah.
that was the first thing I noticed. I'm like, wow, he's putting his hands in places I normally would not, but
not touching anybody.
yeah, but
That's what it takes.
he's literally telling her to, do this
Yeah.
and this, but his, like you said, every little detail, like even to the point of saying, hey, make sure you have, bobby pins, so you can, when you're buying the apparel, you can buy it a little bit oversized, and that way the model, it should fit almost everybody. You can always, bobby pin and
Oh
tie
yeah,
it,
clip it.
shape it to the body, however. And I was like, oh, that's a good tip, so
Yeah.
Anyway.
He must have such a clear vision of exactly what he wants.
Oh yeah.
See, now I was already obsessed. Now I'm more obsessed. I want to learn more.
I
Maybe
would
I'll
love
take
to
his
have him.
workshop.
Yeah, I would love to have him on the work, but he only speaks Russian. So I'm like, I was like, duh, darn it, So believe me, I've wanted to have him on the show too, but unfortunately, that's just a linguistic hurdle that I don't think we'd be able to master anytime soon.
No.
But anyway, Chris, thank you so much for sharing your work with us and a little bit about yourself. And hey, Els.
Say hey.
Yeah, it's great to be here with you guys. I feel like I talked your ears off. I don't know if anybody has anything, but certainly enjoy. I don't get on stage anymore, so this is thank you for letting me be in front of people.
Yeah, no problem. Jamie talks highly of you all the time, so it's nice to finally meet you.
Thank you. It's awesome to meet you too. And Tony, I want to see some of your photography at some point. I haven't been able to find. I guess I haven't looked for Tony specifically outside of I thought I'd seen a link or something that you featured somewhere on your page, but you don't do that. I think that's probably.
I will show. Actually, I shot in a while, but I did something. I just did something for a friend of mine for her birthday, and
see it.
This was literally, we just went to a cornfield, one of those. It was in October. Let me look for it here. Okay.
Was it you started your tutorials?
Oh, I don't have tutorials, but no,
with
this
David,
is
with David Dubnitsky.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. Yeah, I hadn't taken the tutorials yet. This is just kind of what I was playing with. Here, let me go ahead and bring it up. And she liked it. It was just something I was playing around with, and she liked it. So there we go.
I like that fill light.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
I'm digging that fill light in the middle there. I like it.
Yeah, that was just a little editing on my part, but just deep in the shadows. And she's a very Christian person, and so I wanted to add the light on her because I thought the cornfield and that whole kind of in her own element kind of thing with the Lord.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. That's a bucket list shoot for me. I don't know how. I mean, of course, David Dubnitsky talks about his cornfield workflow, and I kind of thought I guess I kind of need to do a shoot like that, but I've never been in a cornfield. That's a beautiful setup right there. I love it.
Let's do it.
Oh, there you go. Do you have one by your house down there in southern Pittsburgh?
Everywhere. Where'd Tony go? We lose him. It's just you and me on here. Where's Tony?
Let's talk about bar fights and.
We already talked about that. All right. Well, we'll hold it down until Tony comes back. So let's talk about.
Oh, sorry.
There he is.
All right. Wow.
I was like, what did I just do?
Oh man, now I'm getting the helicopter effect on my sound. All right, we're back.
Uh-oh.
There we are. We were like, okay, so we're running this.
Anyway, where was I going with that? Anyway, thank you for asking to see my work. But like I said, I'd love to have you on. I was haven't had a chance to talk to Jamie about some of these, but I've been writing down ideas for roundtable discussions where we can have multiple people on and talking about different subjects. And obviously, we'd love to have you back on the show at some point.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm not sure that I'm as interesting as some of the other. Like, I could contribute a lot to.
Dude, that
You're-
jacket
You're
says
too
it all.
humble.
Oh,
You're
no,
too
I mean,
humble.
seriously, it's ridiculous to hear about my fan days. But yeah, I don't know. Like, if you ever have a retouching forum, like, I have a lot of opinions about Photoshop and such.
Actually, that is one of my topics I remember writing down was since obviously we can do a little screen sharing here, we can get some tips from different people about how they edit their work and see their workflow kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely.
See?
We'd love to have you on there.
Well, that sounds wonderful. It's awesome meeting you, Tony, and thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. And in the meantime, folks, again, make sure to follow Chris on his Instagram. His link is on our show's caption. And of course, if you've enjoyed the show and would like to see future episodes, feel free to, of course, like and comment on this episode and subscribe to our channel so we can see you in the future. Hey, Marco, just saw your thing a little bit late in the show, but thank you, Jamie, again, for being my better half here. And Chris, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me, Jamie.
Of course.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.